Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I have a quick little book recommendations video that I've been wanting to film for a while, and this year is coming up to an end, and I kind of just wanted to talk about books that got me out of a reading slump, because there were quite a good few times within this year especially that I went through a book slump or reading slump, not wanting to read. Either the book was too good and I didn't know which book to kind of pick to kind of get back into reading, or the book was so bad that I didn't want to pick up another book. And I'm going to be talking about 10 books, especially because I've read over 100 books this year, which is quite a lot for me in general, quite a lot. Like 10 that I could think of really that really got my attention and captured it and kept it up until the very end. And I kind of tried to talk about a variety of genres instead of just like one. Since I did read the whole series this year, I will have to say the first one will be A Court of Thorns and Roses. And Akatar just holds a very special place in my heart. It was my first fantasy books that I got really into, and they had the spice, they had, you know, just like a whole lot of things, but it was like the easiest like starter book for fantasy. And I got hooked within like, you know, 50 pages or something like that, I think. And it was so good. If you haven't read it, at least pick it up. It's like so good. It's been hyped up for a very good reason, and I think with each book it kind of keeps getting thicker and thicker, but they really did hold my attention. The second book, which I thought was the best romance book that I've read by far, which is Binding 13, and it's a thick one, but it's a thick book for a good reason. I didn't want the book to end. I think it was about over 600 pages long. And when I say I devoured it like within 2 days or something, like super short amount of time, and there's just so much banter. It's, you know, she fell for him but he fell for her harder. It's just, I cannot describe, like that book just holds a special place in my heart. And the chapters are relatively short and you're just kind of flying through it. It's a dual POV, just so good. I wish I could read that book for the first time and kind of feel it for the first time. It was the best. One that I read actually a couple years ago but still lives in my brain rent-free, and I hate the fact that like the author has been criticized to the point where so many people kind of like hate talking about this author, but I think she's well known and popular for a very damn good reason, and it's Verity by Evelyn Hugo. So it has everything. It has the romance, it has thrillers, it has the mystery, it has the creepiness to it, and it's just so good. I read it and that was the book that actually got me into reading. I couldn't put the book down. The plot twist. Now another book that got me hooked from the very beginning up until the very end, and it was the first book that I read by Ali Hazelwood, so it's Love on the Brain. And her books are just chef's kisses, because when I say she writes books about women in STEM, so it's like based around science and there are some fancy terms, but the way that she writes them with like humor, and it just like gives you a good laugh. So it's just so heartwarming and I absolutely loved it. And I think it was like, I was kicking my feet, I was screaming, I was laughing, I was just everything. I absolutely love that book. Like, it's my favorite book of hers by far. I've pretty much read nearly all of them except one, and it's my favorite of hers. Now the next two books I actually need to clap. I absolutely love Jennifer Lynn Barnes' books, and they're so short, the chapters, and you're flying through it. And whatever she puts into her books, oh, I swear it's crack. I swear it's crack. The two in particular that are coming to my mind, which is Inheritance Games and The Naturals, they're both great. They're both great, don't get me wrong. The Inheritance Games is about the girl who finds out that she's written in a will, in a billionaire's will that she's never met before basically, and she's very curious of why she's been inherited all of his inheritance, and the rest of his family is disinherited, so she's very kind of confused. The Naturals is all about the FBI and 5 teenagers that are living in a house trying to solve cold cases. Each individual has their own talent of, you know, being able to read emotions or statistics, you know, good with numbers, good with reading serial killers, kind of. They're great books. Absolutely love them. One of my favorite series ever. The Happily Ever After by Abby Jimenez, and it's my favorite book of hers, hands down. It's the second book in the Friendzone series, but you can definitely read it as a standalone, but I think you really have to read the first one to kind of see what the main character went through in the first book, because it's kind of her story. But in the first book, you know, the author did her basically dirty. Her story finally gets to be redeemed in the second book, where she gets her happily ever after. And it's really cute, it's very funny. In the very beginning, the whole story with the dog and the owner and her finding his dog is just like hilarious. I love that book. It was my 5-star book. And Abby Jimenez, like, she's popular for a very good reason. It got me hooked in the very beginning up until the very end. Now, another book that I read, which was a couple of years back, but it still lives in my head rent-free. You know that feeling? This is it. So this is Evelyn Hugo. No, this is not Evelyn Hugo. This is Anna. The book that I'm talking about is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Was it a historical fiction? I don't remember what's the genre for it. But basically the whole gist is Evelyn Hugo is being interviewed, and so she explains her life story, or, you know, the 7 husbands that she went through, and each has a story of its own. And I thought it was just so unique, so beautiful. It just made me emotional in a good sense. Like, I wasn't crying. I don't remember crying, so I don't think I was crying, but I remember how emotional it was. And that's the best kind of books, when you can kind of feel something. So beautiful. And that was actually my 5-star book as well. Now this will be a funny one, because it's dark romance, and if anyone is looking for dark romances, I feel like Penelope Douglas does them the best. They're just so spicy and they're so good. But one thing I will say, do not come for me, because, you know, it's there for the vibes, it's there for the entertainment. It's a fiction book, so when I say the book I'm talking about is corrupt, and I might be in the minority for liking it, but the vibes were top tier. They were great. I had such a good time, and from the very beginning I was hooked. The whole story, it's a little bit unhinged, so don't go in it thinking like, oh no, this is so unrealistic and this person said that and this. And listen, I was hooked, and it got me out of my reading slump, so it might do the same for you if you're looking for something along the lines of spicy dark romance book. And it has sports in it. And then the last book, which is a fantasy, and it's called Rhapsodic. Not sure if I will pronounce that right. Rhapsodic. Again, it's supposed to be fantasy, but it wasn't like hard world building or anything like that. It was more of a romantasy. The vibes were immaculate, they were there. So a 16-year-old girl befriends this bargainer, and he's a fake king, but he's also on a side hustle where he basically bargains for favors. So a favor for a favor, an eye for an eye kind of situation. So if you make a deal with the bargainer, I mean, sorry to break it to you, but like, it's going to be harsh. There were payments. But yeah, this girl, she befriends him, and she has over 200 favors with the bargainer. She made over 200 deals with the bargainer. Like crazy. Crazy. Anyways, this is it for the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.